I'll come back to Penny Wong and foreign affairs, but we've had another hateful attack now in Sydney's east. Just like last month, anti-Israel slogans, a car burned, and this happening at a location close to synagogues and Jewish schools. Now, Anthony Albanese was slow to go to Melbourne. He was slow to dub the attack there an act of terrorism. He was slow to set up an anti-Semitism task force, but he's done all that now. Has the government's response been good enough, at least on this law enforcement aspect?
Look, I welcome the task force and I welcome the funding, but we also have to address the root causes and the issues here. And that means, a full court press on making sure that across the political divide, we're making our voices clear about these sort of things, that the policing is rigorous and absolutely clear-cut, with no sort of theories and strategies now of saying, we want to avoid pouring oil on the fire here. The fire is burning. It's now to start putting the fire out. So aggressive policing and intelligence work is really required. But we also have to stop providing the fuel to the fire in terms of some of the things that are being done in the foreign policy realm, which just are completely counterintuitive to what is called for right now.
OK, let's go to the foreign policy response here and Labor's abandoning of Israel, because surely that is linked to these domestic issues. So instead of strengthening its support for Israel, Labor portrays Israel as the aggressor. And even after Assad's Syria has fallen and Hezbollah's been defeated in Lebanon, so that Iran is finally on the retreat in the Middle East, Penny Wong has mentioned Israel and international law in the same breath as China and Russia.
Yeah. Chris, you might know about Natan Sharansky, famous human rights Soviet Union dissident. He coined a phrase, 3D anti-Semitism. And the 3 Ds of that concept are delegitimisation, demonisation and double standards. And we talked last time about the rectangle of rat bags of China, Iran, Russia and North Korea. Well, to sort of associate Israel at this point with Russia particularly, who have been instrumental in fomenting the tyranny and the destitution in Syria, they are the ones who've provided and facilitated Syria's chemical weapons attacks against its own population, starting in 2013 when they were using sarin gas and then moved to chlorine gas, which was infamous from the First World War, and the barrel bombs that were dropped on the population, slaughtering wholesale and indiscriminately women, children and the like with a horrible form of death. And Russia has been the facilitator of that. Russia is the one in the Security Council at the UN who have vetoed attempts to stop this and bring Syria to heel on chemical weapons. And right now, Israel's war against these aggressors, its war of self-defense and against annihilation, which, as you say, has now debilitated Iran, given us the opportunity to reset in Syria and Lebanon, are now conducting strikes to destroy those chemical weapons stockpiles. And yet we hear from the UN they want those strikes to stop. Well, you want those weapons to fall into the hands of other extreme groups. And so to point to Israel and say you're in the same league with these guys, it's just outrageous. They're on our side and they're making it possible for there to be a reset in the Middle East, taking on the entire responsibility themselves in putting their lives on the line to do that. Understand who your friends are and whose side you are on right now. And the message you are sending back here to Australia is that, Israel and their supporters in the Jewish community are bad guys, deserve everything they get effectively. And, these resolutions that they support, which are full of lies and distortions and propaganda, this is what fuels the extremists back here. It has to stop, Chris.
It is a complex policy area, Mike, but in the end, it comes down surely to a question of good versus evil.
And who your friends are. I mean, Israel's the country that's been allied with us in the fight against terrorism and helped keep our people safe and our soldiers. I'm speaking to a group of ADF chaplains tonight at a synagogue in Melbourne, in the context of everything that's gone on. We have been shoulder to shoulder with these people, but mainly they've provided us with the support and the wherewithal and the intelligence that we didn't have. And so, I would say, when the lines are drawn like this, understand what the immediate needs are. Park your vanity projects in the UN right now. It's not what the Australian people want to hear. They want to hear how you're going to keep them safe because, like Pastor Niemöller said, when you don't speak up when they come for others, and ultimately when they come for you and no one's left, this is what's going to be happening here. It starts with burning synagogues, but it doesn't end there. It'll be burning temples and churches next. So address Australians' concern, like the Hindus and the Sikhs are now putting forward statements on this. Address domestic security concerns about this, and also address the things that Australians want to hear from the government on cost of living and those pressures that are making their daily lives so difficult. That's what the government's got to focus on in this run-up to the election.
Mike Kelly, thanks for speaking out again and for joining us here.
No worries, Chris. Thank you.